So people from online. So good morning, everyone. Can you able to hear me? Can you please confirm me in the chat box once? Okay, great. So thank you so much for joining. So since today, like we had some network issue. So because of yesterday's heavy rain, so I have connected to the hotspot. So if you couldn't able to hear me properly or if you had any noise, please let me know. So we'll plan accordingly. And so I just want to know, um, is there anyone who just joined today? Is it your first class? So is it your first class, right? So people from online, can you just ping like how many of them for is it for second class or first class? For how many of them it is first class or for how many of them it is second class? Can you please ping in the chat box once? Okay, okay, great. So people who just joined today, so let me give you a 5 minutes of introduction and what exactly this course is. And people who joined like yesterday or day before yesterday, for them, bear with me for 1 2 days. I'll repeat the previous class as I said earlier, and I'll be adding the few new points. Okay, because since even there is a one single student joined, so we have to repeat it because we don't want to make them confused. Because whoever is coming to the class, so most of them are freshers. So most of them will be in a confused mind state. So we shouldn't feel, ask them to just go and watch the video and just like that. Okay. So we have to take care of them. So people who join like if it is third class or second class, so bear with me for next 2 to 3 classes. So along with the previous class, I'll also repeat a new topic as well. I'll also teach a new topic as well. For as of now, just remember or concentrate on that new topic. So going forward, anyway, we will speed up that and you won't feel bored or you won't feel bad. Okay. Just feel like if it is your first class, how you will feel like if I'm not repeating it. Okay. So try to understand them. And yeah, this is a session. This is a batch that we planned for both AWS and Azure. So in this batch, AWS is our target, will be our primary skill, and Azure will be our secondary skill. So there are few services which we are also covering in the Azure as well. The reason why we are covering Azure is whenever we are searching for an interview, if you look for interview only on particular AWS course, the opportunities might be less. I'm not saying that there won't be any opportunities. We have opportunities on AWS as well, but to make your resume stronger, to showcase that you have knowledge on multi-cloud and to impress the interviewers, and if it will be easy for to pick your resume among others. For that reason, along with AWS, we also added Azure as well, couple of services like storage, networking, couple of other services as well. I already shared the course content of what we are covering, whatever the topics that we are covering. I already shared the course content to the admin. After the session, or if someone reached out to you from Naresh IT, so you can ask them for the course content, like what exactly that we were covering. Harshit Pandey, this course is not for Java full stack developer. This is purely cloud technology. Okay. So this is our third demo session after starting this batch. This is our third demo session. Day 1, day 2, we have covered very basics of IT. And whatever we covered in the day one, the same thing we also covered in the day two as well. But I added a new topic extra, that's it. And these two sessions are uploaded in the YouTube, and you can find YouTube links from the chat box. And people from the offline, you can get it from the admin. So anyway, I'll recap that what we have covered in the last two classes. Still, if you have any questions, you can go back and watch the video and you can come to me. So I'll be helping you to clarifying it. So the topics which we have covered in last two classes is we just try to understand about what exactly the cloud platform is. So why we are calling it as a cloud, and what is on-premises infrastructure. Along with what is cloud, we have covered what is on-premises infrastructure. Along with what is cloud, we have covered what is on-premises infrastructure. And we also covered what is network and what is server and what is public IP and private IP. Okay. So today, first 15 to 20 minutes, what I'll do is I'll cover the same topic. I'll repeat the same topic. I'll recap it once and I will add a new topic to it. As I said, we have a YouTube videos as well. Whatever the sessions which we have done yesterday and day before yesterday, that is uploaded to the YouTube, and that link's also shared in the chat box. You can also watch those videos and let me know if you have any questions. And at the end, around 20 minutes to 30 minutes, since everyone is new and there are a lot of new people joined today, I will be allowing you to ask your questions with respect to the course or any technical aspects that if you have anything. So I'll allow you to talk so you can raise your questions at the end. So meanwhile, if you have any questions, I request you to make a note of it. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, I request you to make a note of it. And at the end, before leaving, I'll clear all your doubts and then I'll leave from here. So when I talk about what is cloud, what exactly the cloud is. So when I'm talking about a cloud, generally I'll give an example of a Google Drive first to understand very clear about cloud. So we all aware of Google Drive, right? So we will use Google Drive to store the data generally. Simply, we will create a Google account and we will upload our files into the Google Drive and we will store our data. So apart from the storing our data, are we maintaining any physical device along with me whenever we use Google Drive? So whenever we use or whenever you create a Google account and you navigate it to the Google Drive, simply you are just clicking on upload and you're uploading a file. That's it. But whenever you are storing your data into the hard disk, do you require to maintain any hardware with you? So we have to maintain a hard disk with us. Whenever we copied any of the data, it can be pen drive, it can be a hard disk. We have to carry that particular hardware component with us. But whenever we uploaded data into the Google Drive, we never maintain any physical device along with us. It's just from wherever you want, you can just log in into your Google account, you can upload your data. It doesn't require any hardware that you should maintain. So the difference between these two is when you are maintaining a hard disk, it is like an on-premises infrastructure. On-premises means wherever you stay, that is called your premises, right? In your premises, if you are maintaining your hardware, that is called on-premises infrastructure. And if you are not maintaining it on behalf of you, if someone is maintaining that, that is called cloud infrastructure. So when I talk about a Google Drive, I'm uploading the data into the Google Drive, but I'm not maintaining any physical device with me. But definitely it has to be stored physically at somewhere. Understand? When I upload the data, it doesn't really stored somewhere in the air, right? Definitely it requires a physical setup where it has to be stored. But we are uploading our data from here to there by sitting in our home, and we'll be downloading if we want. So that is called cloud. So it means if you take an example of a Google Drive, instead of you maintaining your infrastructure, service provider is maintaining it. So Google Drive means a service which is provided by Google. So that is the reason we call the service provider is Google. For example, if I'm using Amazon Cloud, who is my service provider? Amazon is my service provider. If I'm using Google Cloud, who is my service provider? Google is my service provider. If I'm using Microsoft Azure, who is my service provider? Microsoft. It means whatever the company that we were using, instead of we maintaining our physical infrastructure, that company is taking care of it. So that is the reason we are calling them as service provider. So if someone asks you about what is a cloud, in cloud, instead of you maintaining your infrastructure, service provider will maintain it. Along with that, if I talk about a Google Drive, so in Google Drive, we can store unlimited data, right? But for example, by default, you'll get some 20 GB free of cost, free tier or something. More than that, if you are storing your data, you have to pay for it. So if I'm storing 100 GB, I'll be paying for 100 GB. If I'm storing 2000 GB, 2 TB, I'll be paying for 2 TB. It means how much you use, you're paying for it. So that is the reason we call it as pay as you go model. Pay as you go model. The meaning of pay as you go model is how much you use, you pay for it. So in cloud, the beautiful benefit is how much you use, you pay for it. In cloud, instead of you maintaining your infrastructure, service provider will take care of it. And cloud is a pay as you go model. For example, we can do many things in cloud. We can do many things because the real time examples are if I have 1 TB of data. So simply what I can do, I can use cloud to store my data. If I'm storing 1 TB, I'll be paying for 1 TB. That's it. For example, if I need a machine, if I need a server with a 2 CPU, 4 GB memory or something, I can create that machine in cloud. If I'm running that machine, I'll be paying for it. If I'm stopping that machine, I don't need to pay for it. That is how for each and every use case, there is a service available in cloud and we will be using it. We will be paying for it. How much you use, you pay for it. So that is a beautiful technique in cloud. Cloud is a virtualization. Instead of you maintaining your infrastructure, service provider will maintain that. At the same time, cloud is a pay as you go model. Okay. So what services that are available in cloud? How many services that available in cloud? And what exactly that we were learning? Which services that we were learning? These are the common questions that you might have. See, cloud is having hundreds of services because irrespective of a domain, like if you're for AI, machine learning, infrastructure, whatever it may be, there are a lot of services available. But in real time, hardly we will work with 10 services or 15 services. Whatever the important services that we were and whatever we think that we must learn these services, that will be covered in the course content. So those services, what we do is we will pick up the service, we will explore the service, we will see how to configure it, we will see the use case of it, real-time use case of it. That is how we will learn. Clear? So you understood what is cloud now? And if I talk about what is on-premises infrastructure, it is a physical infrastructure. The reason why people are moving into the cloud instead of using a physical infrastructure is physical maintaining of a physical infrastructure is not that much easy. See, if my laptop is having a 4 GB memory and 4 CPUs or whatever it may be. So I'm having size of this. But if I'm maintaining 200 CPUs, 500 CPUs, 50 GB memory, so will my machine will be as small as this? It will be very big, right? So when I want to put an infrastructure like a huge infrastructure, there will be a lot of hardware that we have to procure. Like we have to procure, we have to procure the servers, switches, routers, cables, air conditioner, admin, power bill, power backup. There are a lot of things that we have to buy. Once you bought this, if you are not utilizing it properly, it is waste of money, right? And it will be a huge investment for many of the companies. So instead of doing this, what we can do is just give me a second, guys. So, guys, just give me 1 minute. I'll be back again. Okay. So whenever we wanted, whenever we wanted to put some hardware, buy some hardware, we have to buy all this, and we have to pay for this. So after putting a lot of investment, if I didn't get a project, if I didn't get a project, or if I lost the project, so whatever the investment that I put on there, it will become wasted, right? So if instead of using this physical infrastructure, if I go with any um, cloud infrastructure where I don't need to procure anything there, everything what I use is for a rental basis. So at the end of the month, I'll just pay for it. I won't put any upfront money there. Simply, if I need a server, I'll just use the server. And if I don't need the server, I will delete the server. If I don't need the server temporarily, I will stop the server. So that based on that, it will be the cost will be get generated. That is called on-premises infrastructure. Instead of taking this headache of on-premises infrastructure, people are migrating from on-prem to cloud. Clear? Now, if I talk about a network again, so general question, whenever we started or whenever we jumped into the IT, commonly we will hear few terminologies. Before learning the concept or before entering into the cloud, what I feel is we must familiar with the terminologies so that whatever we do outside, the same thing will be in the cloud as well. All right. If you're familiar with the terminologies, when you get into the job, so there might be a person who is having huge experience or good experience. Everyone will not talk to you only in AWS terminology. They might talk to you in a normal IT terminology or normal IT basic things. In those cases, we have to be very clear of it. What is a network? What is a server? What is an IP address? What is a public IP? What is a private IP? The common things that we should be familiar with that. I'll just recap that for 10 minutes now, and then I'll jump onto the new topic. And whenever you feel that I'm just going fast, just let me know. Okay, I'll go it very slow. Because the reason why I'm just repeating it fast is since I have been explaining the same concept from last 2 days, people who joined already yesterday and day before yesterday, they might get bored. They might feel bored. So that is the reason my intention is to recap once and just jump into the new topic. Okay. So whenever you had something, just let me know. So don't feel like, I won't take it as negative. So the end point, end goal is to make you understand. So the way how you require, so I'll be teaching in that way. Okay. So now when I talk about a network, I have told you this example yesterday. I'm repeating this example again. Okay. There are two different houses that we have. There are two different houses. House one, house two. There is a person staying in this house. There is a person staying in this house. So this person will have two different names. Like one will be a professional name, the other one will be a nickname. Assume that a professional name can be Venkatesh or something. A nickname can be Winky or something. And for this person, Srikanth can be a professional name and Srini can be a nickname. So now there is no relation between these two houses, right? They don't know each other. When they want to communicate with each other, for example, you belongs to a different house and I belongs to a different house. If you want to communicate with me, will you communicate with me with my professional name or nickname? Obviously a professional name. That is how here the communication will be happen with the professional name. When there is a person inside here, when there is a person inside here, and he is having a professional name and he is having a nickname. So between these two persons, the communication can be happen with the nickname, right? So finally, what I mean to say is when there are two different houses, external communication can be happened with the professional name. Internal communication can be happened with the nickname. So assume that house one is nothing but a network one. House two is something like a network two. House one is nothing but network one. House two is nothing but network two. So here, professional name is nothing but a public IP. Nickname is nothing but a private IP. Professional name is nothing but a public IP. Nickname is nothing but private IP. So now you guys tell me, when I want to do an external communication, the communication will be happen with the public IP or private IP? Public IP. When there is an internal communication, can be happen with the public IP or private IP? Private IP. Now, when there is a network, when there is a server, I hosted Abiba's application in this server. I'm sitting in my house having my laptop. I want to book some bus tickets. Will I access public IP of this Abibus server or private IP of Abibus server? Public IP of this Abibus server. So as of now, remember this. The external communication can be happened all the time with the help of public IP. Internal communication can be happened with the help of private IP. Okay, remember this. Now, when I talk about server, what is a server generally? So many of them will think that a server is something which server is just a computer, if I can say. Server is just a computer, but the configuration will be high for the server because we will run applications in the server. The configurations will be high because we will run applications on the server. It can be an Abibus application. It can be a Flipkart application. It can be an Amazon application. They will host their server so they will host their application inside the server. So you should learn the difference between host and install. Host means you're putting at one place and end users are accessing to it. People are accessing to it. Install means which you are running on your own laptop. I will be installing the VLC media player, whatever it is. But if I am accessing something, that will be hosted on a particular server. Okay. It is also like a computer, but our computer configuration is very less. If I use my computer for a long time, or if I try to run a big application on my computer will not be used. It's just a waste, right? So always we should have a server to host any application. Because since I said that computer is nothing but a server or laptop is nothing but a server, you can ask me that like, why can't you host an application on your laptop? I can't because my laptop configuration is not sufficient for that. If I use my laptop for 24/7, if I use my laptop for 24/7, my laptop will not be work for the next day. It will have definitely have some problem, right? So server is nothing but a machine where you host your applications, but the configuration is very high. You might hear different names like application server, database server or something. As I said yesterday, when there is a bottle, if you fill this bottle with a drink, you will call it as a drink bottle. When there is a bottle, if you fill this bottle with water, you'll call it as water bottle. When you fill the bottle with a drink, you'll call it as drink bottle. When you fill the bottle with water, you'll call it as water bottle. Similarly, when there is a machine, if you host application on it, you'll call it as application server. If you host a database on it, you will call it as database server. That's it. Now, to create a server, as I said that AWS is having lot of services available. Based on our use case, we will be learning the services, right? To create a server, what is the service available in AWS? Let's see that today. To create a service, to create a server, we have a service called EC2. EC2 is a service which allows to create server in cloud. The full form of EC2 is Elastic Compute Cloud. In the name itself, you can easily understand. Elastic Compute Cloud. Elastic means it can be stretched. It can be increased or it can be decreased. Compute means RAM, memory, CPU, whatever. These are all comes under compute. Cloud. End of the day, we were hosting it on cloud. It means whenever I create a machine using of this EC2 service, its compute environment will be elastic. Either I can decrease it or increase it. For example, if I buy a laptop, if I have a 4 GB of RAM, is it that easy to upgrade my RAM and downgrade my RAM? I have to check the compatibility whether I have it my laptop or not. And I have to check whether the other slot is available or not. If the slot is not available, I should throw the previous RAM and I have to buy another RAM and I have to insert it. So there are a lot of complications here. But here, using of Elastic Compute Cloud, if you create a server, if today if I have 2 CPU memory or 4 CPU memory, 4 CPUs and 4 GB memory, tomorrow I can increase, tomorrow evening I can decrease. I have that flexibility to do. Okay. Using of Elastic Compute Cloud, as I said, we can create a server, right? We can call it as a server. We can call it as a virtual machine because since it is not physically with us, we can call it as a virtual machine. Apart from these two names, in AWS, we have a name called instance. So we have a name called instance. Instance, nothing but virtual machine or computer or laptop, whatever it may be. Instead of calling it as a virtual machine, we will be calling it as instance. Whatever the steps that we have to buy a laptop. See, if you want to buy a laptop directly, you won't go to the Reliance and you won't, based on the company name, you won't pick the laptop and you won't come back, right? What you will be looking for? You will be looking for some configuration. What configuration that you required, you will be looking for that configuration, right? Similarly, whenever you create an instance also, you will be looking for configuration. Whenever you buy a laptop, what is the configuration that you look for? Generally, when you want to buy a laptop, so what is the configuration that you look for? You might look for, I need a particular operating system. I need a particular RAM. And I need a storage. So these are the common things that we always verify when you buy a laptop, right? RAM, storage is the mandatory thing that you always look for whenever you buy a laptop. Similarly, whenever you create an instance also, the same options will be available here. Understood? Here, but instead of calling it as RAM, OS, whatever it may be. So instead of calling it as like that, we have a naming terminologies. We have few steps to create an instance. The first step is operating system. Instead of calling it as an operating system, you will call it as AMI, Amazon Machine Image. Don't bother about what is AMI. I will be helping you. I'll be explaining you. Just today, try to remember the steps. To create an instance, what are all the steps? Remember those steps. What is exactly about those steps? I'll be explaining you. What is an AMI and all. The first step would be, what is AMI? Second is instance type. Okay. First step is operating system. Second is instance type. If I talk about operating system, what are all the operating systems that we have generally? Windows, Linux, Ubuntu, CentOS, macOS, different operating systems that we have, right? Earlier days, whenever we want to install operating system on my laptop, what is the process that we supposed to follow? Earlier days, whenever I want to install operating system, what is the process that we follow? We supposed to get a disk, inserting the disk, clicking on next, 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 next. Almost it is taking like 40 minutes or 50 minutes at that point of time. And we were installing the operating system. But later on, when the technology got updated, simply we are having an ISO file in the pen drive. We are inserting the pen drive, flashing it, installing it. But here, whenever you have a virtual machine means it won't have physically with us. You can't insert a pen drive or you can't insert a disk into it, right? But you require that virtual machine with a particular operating system. AWS created images. Images are like a blueprint. Every operating system has its own image. Windows 2012, it is one image. Windows 2016, one image. Windows 2012, one image. Every operating system they created as an images and they kept it in the AWS account. Simply what we have to do is we just need to select. Okay, I require this operating system, so I'll be selecting this particular image. That's it. Nothing more than that. You won't bother about how to install it, or you won't bother about nothing. Simply, when you log into the AWS account, when you click on create instance, it will ask you which operating system that you want. Select the image. If I require Linux, I'll be selecting Linux image. If I need Windows, I'll be selecting Windows image. If I need Ubuntu, I'll be selecting Ubuntu image. Clear? Understood? So that is the first step. Second step, coming to the instance type. Instance type is a step where you will be giving your RAM, CPUs, whatever it may be. But here what you do is we have a different families. We have a different families like T family, M family, R family, D family, different families that we have. Each and every family will have its different types again. T2 micro, T2 medium. It means whenever you are creating an instance, it shows a table. T2 micro means you'll be getting 1 CPU, 1 GB memory. T2 medium means you'll be getting 1 CPU, 2 GB memory. T2 large means you'll be getting 2 CPUs, 4 GB memory. For each and every instance type, there will be a set of configuration over there. Based on the instance type that I have selected, that particular configuration will be allocated to my EC2 instance. Clear? Here, like T is a family name. Two is the generation. Micro is the size of the instance. Understood? T is a family name. 2 is the generation. Micro is the size of the instance. What is the service that we have to create a virtual machine in AWS? What is the service? People from online, can anyone answer? What is the service that we have to create virtual machine in AWS? People from online, can anyone answer? Exactly. EC2 is the service. Now, instead of calling it as virtual machine, what do we call it? Instead of calling it as virtual machine, in AWS, what do we call? What is the name that we use? EC2 is a service name. Instead of calling it as virtual machine, yes, exactly. Answer is instance. Okay. So in instance, whenever you are creating an instance, what is the first step? What is the first step that it asks? We learn about 2 steps today. What is the first step? AMI, Amazon Machine Image. It is nothing but an operating system. Whatever the operating system that I required, I will be selecting that operating system. What is the second step that we required? Instance type. In instance type, what do we select? how much memory RAM that we require, whatever the type that we want, we will select. Okay. So rest of the steps we will learn tomorrow. Today, by tomorrow, everyone should be good at what is a cloud, what is a network, what is public IP, what is private IP, what is server, what are the first two steps to create EC2 instance. These are the 6 points. Okay. If you do not understand anything, kindly ask me. I won't take it, I won't feel bad or you won't feel bad. So you'll be getting your recording video as well. Come to me, discuss with me. If you have any questions, I'll be helping you to resolve it. I'm again telling you, it's my responsibility to make you understand. Asking a question is your right. Ask whatever in your mind. If the question is correct, I will tell you the answer. If your question is wrong, I'll correct your question. That's it. Okay. Instance type. Instance type means whenever there is an EC2 instance, whenever there is a virtual machine, whenever there is a computer, you should allocate memory, CPUs to that machine, right? Without that, the instance will not work. Here in AWS, instead of specifying 2 CPU, 3 CPU, instead of specifying that individually, we have a different types that offers. We can call it as a different families. If I talk about T family, M family, R family, D family, different families that we have. If I talk about T family, inside the T family, we will be having again T2 micro, T2 medium, T2 small, T2 large, whatever it is. If I take an example of T2 micro, it will have certain configuration, 1 CPU, 1 GB memory. If I take T2 medium, it increases the configuration, 1 CPU, 2 GB memory. If I take T3 large, it increases the configuration, 2 CPU, 2 GB memory. Based on each and every instance type, what it do is, it allows us to allocate a particular hardware, RAM CPUs. That is called instance type. Are you clear, Chaitanya? Yeah. Any other questions from online? So from online, you can raise your hand now. If you have any questions, I'll allow you to talk. Once I completed the online. People from online, any questions? Please raise your hand if you have any questions. People who joined today, if you have any questions, please raise your hand. Rabindra, I allowed you to talk. Please unmute and ask your question.
Yeah, hi, Santosh.
Hi, Amit.
Good morning. So my question is, actually, I have did course for this AWS and DevOps. So now this course is AWS Azure with DevOps, right? So how it will be related, like the all the like Jenkins or other services which is there. So we will be using both AWS Azure for that, or how it will be?
Yeah. First thing is, this course is for AWS and Azure, not for DevOps. Okay. But I'll tell you where the DevOps comes into the picture here. Generally, whenever we have a different cloud environments, in each cloud environment, we will be having a different infrastructure. So whenever you want to deploy anything onto the cloud servers or cloud infrastructure, and then this Jenkins or any other pipeline comes into the picture. For example, whenever, if we look at the Flipkart application, how the Flipkart application will how the Flipkart application will deployed. Generally, what will happen is, we have a three different stages in DevOps. We have a three different stages in DevOps. We have a three different stages in DevOps like this. One is development. One is development. So development means the developer who is writing the code to develop the Flipkart application, and he'll develop the code. So that code will be build. Build means it generates an artifact. Artifact means, for example, if you want to install Zoom application on your laptop, to develop the Zoom application, there will be a code who has developed code and they created the application. But to install the application on your laptop, are you downloading the total code? No, you are downloading just a .exe file or .msi file or whatever it is, right? That is called artifact. Whenever you build the code with some build tool, the artifact will get generated. So that artifact will be deployed to the servers. Okay. This whole process can be done with the help of a pipeline. Here, some source code management will be there, like GitHub or something. When the developer pushes the code into the GitHub, it builds, it generates a artifact. Artifact will be deployed to the server. This is called a pipeline, like any Jenkins pipeline or anything. Now, where AWS or Azure comes into this picture? Here we have the servers, right? We have the servers, right? Where these servers will be created? In AWS or in Azure. Because before deploying an application, we require a server first. Then we can write a code, we can build the code, that artifact will be deployed to the server. That's how cloud and DevOps will be integrated each other. Clear, Rabindra?
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Any other questions, guys? People from online? Any questions? People from online? Anusha, Akila, Srinivas, yes, I allowed you to talk.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Srinivas.
Sir, see, EC2, you're saying that service, based on that service, you are creating what server.
Okay.
Means server and instance both are same, sir.
Yeah, both are same. Server and JP, actually server is a generic word, right?
Oh, yes,
Instance is a AWS terminology.
sir. AWS point of view, server we can say
Just
for
name AWS terminology. That's it.
AWS point. Okay. In Azure point of view, also same, sir.
Virtual machine. Virtual machine. There you'll call it as virtual machine.
If you want to create that server means instance, we can do for that steps as a OS instance type.
Exactly. Exactly. So whenever server is, as I said, server is a computer, right?
Yes, sir.
When you require a computer, the operating system, memory, RAM is a common thing, right?
Yes,
So instead of calling with an operating system and RAM and memory, there we are calling with the AWS terminology like AMI instance type.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
Clear?
Clear, sir. Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Himanshu, I allowed you to talk. Please unmute and ask your question.
Yes, thank you. So, actually, I have a query. You covered CI/CD pipelines.
No, I will give you the DevOps glance at the end of our course, but this is not a pure DevOps content. So generally, to learn the DevOps, better to learn idea on AWS or any other cloud platform first. Then I'll be giving you an idea of DevOps, like what exactly the pipeline is, what exactly that we use, what is source code management, how we build. I'll give you the basic high level overview of DevOps in this particular course.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Chaitanya, here we will be seeing how to create a Windows instance and how to create a Linux instance as well. But most of the time we will be working with the Linux. And along with this course, I already told like Linux is a free of cost here. So you can opt for the Linux course. AMI is an operating system, Chaitanya. That's it. Rupak, what is artifact in DevOps? See, artifact is something which I said, whenever there is a code, whenever you want to deploy the code onto a server, then they will be generating an artifact from that code. Notes, yes, after 5 days, notes will be shared, each and every notes. So Nagendra, you're talking about artifact. So it depends on the code. Yes, Sayed, every day there will be a lab. Since we are in the beginning, I haven't opened the AWS account. Tomorrow I'll show you how to create an AWS account. And from day after tomorrow, we will be working inside the AWS account. We will be creating this server inside the AWS account. We will be deleting it. We'll be exploring all the services there. Any other questions, guys? People from online? So if you do not have, 1 second. So this course will be helpful for you, a solution architect level certification, associate level certification. Yes, Chaitanya? Yeah, so artifact is something as I said, like, when you want to install a Zoom application, you won't download a code, right? You will be downloading a single file and you'll be giving a double click and you'll be installing it. So that is called artifact. Any other questions, guys? People from online? Okay, then I'll be clearing the offline questions now. So if you have any questions, put it in the chat box or raise your hand. Pavan Kumar, yes, you have to learn both. First, you have to learn AWS before DevOps. Yes, Pavan, I can see your question. So better to learn AWS before going for DevOps.